and welcome to Flory Models. Here we are on the 18th of April 2016, and this week is paint week. So all the way through this week we're going to be looking at paints, different techniques, different ways of doing it, nightmare paints, easy paints, anything you can imagine. We're going to be going through it. So don't forget, it's Q&A day tomorrow on Tuesday, so please post up any questions you have on paint, especially if you've got problems with it. Perhaps we can work out exactly what's going wrong. So you've got something like spitting, stopping, starting, things like that, then shoot up some questions in the Q&A one. Just put it under Phil's Q&A section and I'll make sure I answer them tomorrow. Okay, so make sure you join me. Be a live vlog, probably going to be around about 4 in the afternoon. I'll record if you want to watch it live, but as always with all these videos and everything else like that, they will be streamed afterwards, so you can just watch a recording of it as you're probably doing this one here. So today I thought I would go back and tackle a nightmare paint. So actually what I did was I've got the AK stuff out. Now, if you cast your mind back to last year, before I went away on my big summer break, I was working on the Airfix Hurricane. Now, don't get me wrong, the kit is stunningly beautiful, bargain. Everybody should have one in their stash. The paint, though, gave me a particular nightmare because, where is it? This guy down here, the RAF camo set, I thought we can give it a whirl with it. So what it was, I dutifully thought it was just Vallejo paint, squirted it in the old colour cup, went to use it, 2 seconds later, stop, start, spitting, bad texture, bad flow, very poor coverage, and it just wouldn't work. And I couldn't get to grips to why it wasn't particularly working. Now, to be honest, I fought with the paint a little bit, and then you do that thing of like, why am I worrying with this? And I just went back to, I think we used Tamiya actually on it and had no problems with it whatsoever. But at the time, it was one of those things, you're sort of fighting with your paint and you're thinking, why is it not working? But because we was on a little bit of a tight sort of project, I thought, right, okay, it doesn't matter. We'll just get in with another paint and away we go. Anyway, this time, working on the Halifax, I thought, right, let's have another go at it. There, being paint part of Paint Week, I thought, right, let's have a difficult paint that I struggle with, and we're going to try and get to grips of the reason why. And also something else I get asked a lot about is black basing and using things like that. So I thought, well, we could do the same thing on this. So this is, as you can see, all done in black Stynel Res primer. And we've gone through the motions of actually putting this down. Now this is actually part 4 of the Halifax build, so it's all going to run in conjunction with each other. It's up on the site now for members to watch. Extremely detailed look of doing it. So we talk about Stynel Res, the problems you can have with it, the reason it thickens it up. We talk about thinning it, prepping it, spraying it, and obviously putting it down and drying it, and to get a perfect finish with it. Not so much problem with that. That happened, no problem. Then we came in with the paint, and I think they are over here. So the 2 colours we're using for this one is the dark green, and we've got the dark earth. Okay, your standard sort of 1940s RAF colours, 1939, 1944 I think were colours on the bombers. No problem at all, but thickness. The trouble I have with these paints when I tried to use them before is that the paint is extremely thin. It doesn't seem to have any bite to it. It's not like using Tamiya or something else like that. So this time we've gone in there, we speak about this a lot, and we've shoved in a M5 nut. This is marine grade stainless steel. I say full details of this are part of this video. Okay, and we've gone in there, chucked them in there to really get it all going and woken up. Because the trouble I find with these pipette bottles is they're great, but, okay, and this is the big but with them, you get sediment and it doesn't mix thoroughly. Shaking a normal bottle like this one, okay, you're going to get it going and it's going to wake it up and you're going to go, but you're always going to get the thick stuff that's just going to get in there too much. So by putting in one of these, you have no problem. Now the reason I use a bolt and I don't use a agitator, I think some of the companies call them, i.e. a ball bearing, is a ball bearing can get into the colour tip end, so if it gets up here it's actually going to block your flow of paint. Now the trouble with that is you tend to then squeeze because it's stopped, squeeze, and then the end blows off. Trust me, I've had it happen to me, that's why I don't do it. But a nut, obviously the paint can flow in, around and around it and everything else. Just make sure they are what we call marine grade stainless steel, and then once you get them, like I did with those, pop them into some hot soapy water in the sink, okay, give them a swill about and all the rest of it, rinse them thoroughly, stick them on a tea towel, let them dry, and then you're good to go. Alright, that will get any machining residue off of them. Sometimes they have oils on that could affect your paint. If you don't use marine grade, what's going to happen is, and it's happened to a few of the guys on our forum, they're going to rust. And when they rust, it's horrible. If you want textured paint, that's the stuff you want to go with. Anyway, so down here, we started to use it. So we used the old mottling technique, and to be honest, I have my little video, hopefully will play for you down here. Hopefully the sound will be off this time, and you can see we do the sort of marbling technique onto this one, and we're using this paint. Now the same thing is always with this paint, it's not the best paint in the world, but for this particular technique of doing the marbling way, it's actually quite good because it's thin and doesn't build up so quickly. You can work your way through the layers and bring up the paint very nice and slowly, as you can see down on here, okay, and then obviously you can do little touch-ins with it, little tiny spots, okay, and just generally bring up the coat. You can then obviously with pre-shading, or in this case with the mottling and the sort of the marbling effect, you can bring it to life gradually, where if you're going to use something like a normal Tamiya with a 50-50 mix, what's going to happen is you're going to spray it and you're going to lose it in one. Okay, so that's actually what we did with this particular one. Now members, you can go ahead and watch this video. It's a full 30-minute video, and it's going to talk you through about doing all the camo pattern, as you can see me working down there. That was just the blend in afterwards, all right, and then generally we're going to work our way right the way over the entire bomber. And then you're going to end up with something that looks a little bit like this, okay, and then true Flory model fashion, wasn't very happy with it, so I have done a little bit of bleaching work first pass. Then we're going to do a dark one. I've done it slightly different on this. Instead of just doing centers of panels, I've done edges of panels. So I picked a right angle corner. In this case, they are all down here in the sort of, you know, 4 o'clock position. So we've done the sort of, you know, all the panels on the starboard side, and then we've obviously done the ones on the aft side, okay, so i.e. the right and back side of every panel onto it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with a darker color, as in like a post shading effect, and we're going to do the other side. So we're actually going to do the port side and the front side, if you like. So they're going to do the left hand side and the front of each panel, so we get a little bit of a change. So now I'm going to play with this one. This particular one is all set ready for the green now, so it's all literally ready to be the green to go down. So we're probably going to try some little worming techniques, and maybe even try some of that very thin tape. At this particular scale, it's basically a hard edge camo. That's the thing. 1/72 scale, and obviously if you're going to go down 144, it looks like a hard edge camo. If I was doing this particular one in anything bigger, so we're talking 148, 132nd, 124th, you're obviously going to go in there with a different technique. So you can either go in there with a nice sort of, you know, soft edge camo, depending on the size of it and all the rest of it, to give it wear as well, because they tend to fade in and everything else like that. But we're going to do exactly the same. That will go on. And then actually what we're going to do is mask it. We're going to do the yellow identification stripes on all the fronts, around the back here and everything else like that. And then we can actually then remask it and then get going with the black. And then we can put the black all over this one, which is going to be something a little bit special. Again, we're going to be using very dark greys. We're going to be using blues and obviously blacks in there to break it up. So this black doesn't just look like black, okay, and everything else. Then we can unmask it and make our way then with further weathering, because a couple of little techniques I'm going to do to this one is sand it back, okay, so we're going to use polishers and sand the paint physically back so it shows through the black coming through different areas. And then obviously with this one, because it's going to be quite a war-torn look, we want to do things like chipping, okay, so we're going to do chipping techniques on this one, staining, obviously we're going to use oils on the engines and everything else like that, okay, but that's all going to be coming a little bit later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the green coat on this one, and then on Wednesday, instead of working on the airliner, because technically we've done the paint on that one, we're going to look at doing the green work and how we're going to fade, blend in and everything with that one as well. Again, whilst using a paint which technically I don't like. Personally, I wouldn't use it. As you can see, I have a lot of it. Well, some of this is, to be honest, is Vallejo's, which I do like, but the AK stuff, yeah, I'm not a particular fan. So here we've actually got the modern aircraft set for AK. Obviously we've got the Vallejo one, we've reviewed it and looked at it and it was fine. We've obviously got the World War II Japanese Navy one. If you were watching the live log, you'll know about that one. And then we've got the RAF one down the bottom there as well, which to be honest is an awful post shaded job on the one down there. It's pretty nasty, but we're going to post shade this one as well. We're going to put heavy wash on it and everything else and really go to town. But as I said, this week is all about paint, so I'm going to be doing this one. Hopefully I've got another model which may be ready for paint by then as well again, so I'll be able to show you on that one something a little bit different as we make our way through it. But generally that is about it, all about paint. The other thing I must mention, Flow on the Go, which I'll do a full update for you in a couple of days time, we have a map now. Okay, so feel free to pop your destination of where you want Flo to go down onto it, and then obviously it will give us a rough idea of exactly what's going on. Now, if I was anywhere normal, I would have had it ready to show you, but I haven't got it queued up in front of me, okay? But generally, go down to the Flow on the Go thread, and then you'll see I've put in a map. If you click on the link, you'll get it full screen, and you can put in all your own details. So you can put where you live, when you want Flo to come to you, and everything else like that. I must thank everybody who's donated. I'll get all the donations, your names and everything up tomorrow. We've raised around about £175 now, and that isn't through many members at all. So hopefully we can get all of that sorted out this week, and Flo will start her way around the trip. So far, she's doing very well around Colorado and things like that. So there we go, that's about it for today. Again, it's all about paint this week. So tomorrow's vlog, we're going to be obviously going to be part of the Q&A one, going to talk about paint, and then obviously all the vlogs we're going to talk about little hints, tips, clean outs and things like that as we make our way through. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about cleaning your airbrush, stripping your airbrush, and a deep clean of your airbrush as well. So till tomorrow, everybody, happy modelling, take care.